Bruce Lee didn't believe in TV heroes, stunt doubles, fake punches, scripted courage. And when he saw David Hasselhoff at that Hollywood party bragging about Knight Rider, Bruce said 6 words that would haunt them both. "You're not a real fighter, you're an actor playing pretend." What happened 3 days later in the Mojave Desert would prove one of them wrong. But which one? And why did Bruce Lee end up saving the man he called a fraud? This is the story of 2 legends, one fight, and the moment they both learned what being a hero really meant. It started at a party in Beverly Hills, 1982. Knight Rider had just premiered. David Hasselhoff was the new action star. Bruce Lee was the established martial arts legend. They'd never met, but Hollywood was small. Eventually, everyone met everyone. David was surrounded by people, telling stories about the show, about KITT, about stunts. He was animated, confident, the center of attention. Bruce watched from across the room, skeptical. He'd seen this before, TV actors who thought they were tough because they played tough on screen. But Bruce knew the difference. He'd trained his whole life, broken bones, bled, fought for real, not for cameras. Someone introduced them. "Bruce, this is David Hasselhoff, Knight Rider." Bruce shook his hand. "I've seen the show. You have a talking car, and you have impressive kicks. I've seen your films. Films show what I can do. Your show shows what your stunt team can do." The room went quiet. David's smile tightened. "Excuse me, you heard me. You're an actor, not a fighter, not a hero, just someone who looks good on camera while other people do the real work." David felt heat rise. "And you're what? Real? I'm trained, disciplined. I've fought actual fights, not choreographed scenes with breakaway props. You drive a car with a computer doing the work. I use my body, my skill, my years of training. We're not the same. I never said we were." "Good. Because TV heroes aren't real heroes. They're frauds in costumes." Someone tried to defuse the situation, laughed awkwardly, changed the subject, but the damage was done. David left the party angry, humiliated. Bruce had called him a fraud in front of everyone, and David had no comeback, because part of him wondered if Bruce was right. 3 days later, David was driving KITT through the Mojave Desert, a car show in Las Vegas. He'd volunteered to drive KITT instead of having it trailered, wanted to clear his head, process the humiliation. The desert was empty, perfect for thinking. 50 miles outside Barstow, KITT started making a noise, a grinding sound from the engine. David checked the gauges, temperature climbing, oil pressure dropping. He pulled over, popped the hood, steam everywhere. The engine was dying, overheating. In the middle of the Mojave Desert, no cell service, no help. David tried to flag down cars. 3 passed without stopping. A 4th slowed, saw it was KITT, took photos, and drove off. David was stuck, miles from anywhere, temperature climbing toward 110 degrees, and the sun wasn't even at its peak yet. He sat in the car, tried the radio, static, tried starting the engine. It coughed and died. He was stranded, completely, and nobody was coming. An hour passed. The heat was brutal. David drank the water he had, rationed it, but he was sweating through his shirt, getting dizzy. This was dangerous. People died in the desert. He'd heard stories, tourists who broke down and didn't make it. Then he heard an engine, motorcycle, coming fast. David stood up, waved. The bike slowed, stopped. The rider took off his helmet. Bruce Lee. David's heart sank. Of all the people in the world, of course it was Bruce. Bruce looked at KITT, at David. Car trouble, engines shot, overheating. Bruce got off his bike, walked to KITT, looked under the hood. Coolant hose burst. "You're not going anywhere. I know that. Do you have water?" "Some. I've been rationing." Bruce looked at the desert, at the sun, at David's already red face. "You won't last 4 hours out here. Not in this heat. I called for help. They're coming. Your phone works." David checked. No signal. He'd tried earlier. Still nothing. He'd lied. Pride. Stupid pride. Bruce saw the truth. "Get on the bike." "What? My bike? I'll take you to the next town. Barstow's about 40 miles. I can't leave KITT. You'd rather die with your car than accept help from someone you don't like." David wanted to argue, but Bruce was right. This was life or death, not about ego. "Fine." Bruce handed him a helmet. David got on the back of the bike. It felt humiliating, clinging to Bruce Lee, the man who'd called him a fraud, but the heat was unbearable, and Bruce was his only option. They rode for 20 minutes. Then Bruce pulled over. "We have a problem." "What?" Bruce pointed back the way they'd come. Smoke, black smoke rising from where they'd left KITT. "That's not engine smoke, that's fire." David's stomach dropped. "KITT, someone's there. I saw movement before we left. I thought it was heat shimmer, but that's fire. Someone's burning your car." "Why would anyone?" "Doesn't matter. You want to save it or not." David looked at Bruce, then at the smoke. KITT wasn't his car, but it was his responsibility, and whoever Richard Brennan trusted it to was burning it. "We have to go back. On foot. The bike won't make it through sand if we go off-road, and we need to approach quiet. Whoever's there might be armed." They started running, back toward KITT. The heat was crushing. David's lungs burned. Bruce ran like it was nothing. Trained, conditioned. David struggled to keep up. "Keep moving," Bruce called back. "Focus on breathing. Don't think about the heat." They reached KITT 15 minutes later, 3 men standing around it. One had a gas can. They doused the interior, were about to light it. Vandals or thieves? David didn't know, didn't care. "Hey," David shouted. The men turned, saw David and Bruce. One pulled a knife. "Walk away, this doesn't concern you." Bruce stepped forward. "Calm, put down the knife, walk away, and nobody gets hurt." The man laughed. "You think you're tough? There's 3 of us. I know, I feel bad for you." What happened next took 10 seconds. The man with the knife lunged. Bruce moved, faster than David could follow. A kick, a punch. The knife clattered to the ground. The man collapsed. The other 2 hesitated, then rushed Bruce together. Bruce handled them like they were children. Blocks, strikes, pressure points. They went down. All 3 men on the ground groaning. Bruce barely breathing hard. David stared. He'd seen Bruce's movies, but this was different. This was real. No cameras, no choreography, just pure skill and years of training. Bruce looked at David. "Check the car, see if they did permanent damage." David checked. The interior was soaked in gasoline, but nothing was lit yet. The engine was still dead from overheating, but the fire hadn't started. They'd arrived in time. "It's okay. Engine's still shot, but it's not burning." Bruce nodded, pulled zip ties from his bike bag, tied the 3 men's hands. "Police will find them eventually. Let's get you to Barstow." They rode the rest of the way in silence, reached Barstow, called a tow truck for KITT, waited at a diner while it was arranged. Bruce ordered water. David did the same. They sat across from each other. Finally, David spoke. "Thank you. For what?" "Saving me. Saving KITT. Fighting those guys. I didn't do it for you. I did it because it was right. Still, thank you." Bruce studied him. "You ran back, even though you were dehydrated, even though you were exhausted. Still, thank you." Bruce studied him. "You ran back, even though you were dehydrated, even though you were exhausted. You ran back to save that car. It's not my car, but it was my responsibility. You could have kept going, could have said it wasn't worth it, but you didn't. You went back." David shrugged. "What else would I do?" Bruce smiled. "Small, rare. That's what I wanted to see." "What?" "At the party, I called you a fraud. I thought you were just an actor playing hero. But today, you showed me something. You showed up, when it was hard, when it was dangerous, when you had nothing to gain. That's not acting, that's character." David didn't know what to say. Bruce continued. "I was wrong about you. You're not a TV hero, pretending to be real. You're a real person, who happens to be on TV. There's a difference. You fought 3 guys like it was nothing. I've trained my whole life for that. You haven't, but you still came back. That takes a different kind of courage, the kind you can't train. Either you have it, or you don't. You have it. So I'm not a fraud? No, you're not. You're just a different kind of fighter. You fight with presence, with showing up, with doing what's right, even when it costs you. That's real." They sat in silence, drinking water, processing what had happened. Finally, David asked, "Why did you stop?" "On the motorcycle. You could have kept going to Barstow, could have dropped me off, and never looked back." "Because that's not who I am. I saw smoke. I knew someone might be in trouble, so I stopped." "Same reason you ran back." "Because it's what you do when someone needs help, even someone you don't like, especially someone you don't like. That's when it means the most." The tow truck arrived. KITT was brought to a garage, would need a new engine. David arranged everything. Bruce waited. When it was done, Bruce offered David a ride back to LA. "You don't have to. I know, but I'm going that way anyway, and I think we're past the point where you need to prove you're tough enough to refuse help." David got on the bike. They rode back to LA, stopped at David's house. David got off, handed back the helmet. "Bruce, I'm sorry for whatever I said at the party. You didn't say anything wrong. I was the one being an ass. I judged you without knowing you. That was wrong. You saved my life today. You would have done the same for me." "Yeah, I would have." Bruce extended his hand. David shook it. This time it wasn't a Hollywood handshake. It was respect. Real respect. "See you around, David. See you around, Bruce." Bruce rode off. David stood in his driveway, exhausted, sunburned, dehydrated, but changed, because he'd learned something today, that heroes come in different forms. Bruce was a fighter, trained, skilled, lethal when needed. David was something else, but that didn't make him less real, just different. And Bruce had learned something too, that courage isn't just about fighting, it's about showing up, about running back toward danger when you could run away, about doing what's right even when you're terrified. They never became close friends. Bruce had his world, David had his, but they crossed paths a few times over the years, always respectful, always acknowledging what happened in the desert. The day they both learned that being a hero isn't about being the toughest, it's about being there when it matters. Bruce Lee thought David Hasselhoff was a fraud, but in the Mojave Desert, with KITT broken down and danger closing in, Bruce discovered the truth. David wasn't a fraud, he was just a different kind of real, and sometimes that's the most important kind. The story became Hollywood legend, whispered about, never confirmed publicly, but people who knew both men knew it was true. The day Bruce Lee saved David Hasselhoff, and the day David Hasselhoff earned Bruce Lee's respect. KITT got a new engine. David drove it to that Vegas car show, told everyone it had overheated, didn't mention the vandals, didn't mention Bruce, kept it private, because some stories aren't for publicity. Some stories are just between the people who lived them. Bruce never spoke about it publicly either. But years later, in an interview, someone asked him about TV action heroes, if they were real or just actors. Bruce paused, smiled. "Some of them are more real than you'd think. Real isn't about how you fight. It's about whether you show up when someone needs you. Some TV heroes do that better than real fighters." That's how David knew that Bruce had thought about that day too, had carried it with him, had learned the same lesson David learned, that heroism isn't about style, it's about substance, and both of them, in their own ways, had it. Bruce Lee thought David Hasselhoff was a fraud, but in the end, they were both heroes, just different kinds, and that desert taught them both that different doesn't mean less, it just means different, and the world needs both kinds, the fighters and the show-uppers, the trained warriors, and the people who just do what's right. That's the real story, not the movies, not the TV shows, the moment in the desert when two men from different worlds discovered they had more in common than they thought, and earned each other's respect, the only way that matters, through action, through showing up, through being real when it counted most.